came in, I did the Maya Core course, and it kind of gave me a jump start really into the world of 3D. Well, I started off as a sort of junior 3D, and I've just sort of progressed, and now I'm kind of supervising some jobs. I animate. I'm kind of a generalist really. So I'm going to talk about my recent project, which was a Drench commercial. It's a new water brand. So the concept was just to have brains out of Thunderbirds, drink this water, and then dance like John Travolta. I saw this project through from the beginning to the end. I kind of went to all the meetings at the beginning with the director. I kind of advised them on what post work they would need. I went to the shoot, and then when it came into the mill, I was kind of supervising what work would go to what person. I think we had 2 animators, one guy helping us with motion builder, and then I did all the rendering and a little bit of rigging. So that was kind of my involvement really. It was just also just to make sure the whole thing kind of runs smoothly. It took actual production in the mill, it was about 7 weeks, I think, 8 weeks. But from like literally my first meeting to delivery, it was about 3 months. I'll basically give you a bit of an overview of the whole project. I can kind of show you what the director first sent me in the email about what kind of mood he wanted. And it's good because everybody who's involved immediately kind of gets it and immediately understands what sort of angle he's going for. He sort of picked lots of reference from lots of different films where the dancing is this kind of stuff really. It's kind of comical and snappy, and it's just the angle that he wanted, and it's quite clear as soon as I got this, I was quite clear which kind of direction he wanted it to go in. So the next stage from this, I think he had a close friend of his that was a dancer, and he spent about 2 weeks choreographing all the moves exactly how he kind of saw it. So the editor was involved at this stage as well, taking him and kind of editing him together so that everyone kind of got a feel for the speed of the commercial. So you can see this is really early on. The next thing was to get motion capture of the dance. So when we get it into Maya, we've got a really good base for the animation. The motion capture was actually done on set. We had 2 studios, one where they built like a replica set where the actual puppet was going to be puppeteered, and then right next to it is a scaled up human-sized set of exactly what they built for the motion capture guy and the dancer to kind of do his moves. So this is how he looked when he first came back to us at the mill. So obviously you can see he's really kind of low res. I've kind of chopped him up and just parented him to bones. It runs nice and quick. It's very human-like at the moment. It looks nothing like a puppet. It looks nothing like brains, but it just gives us a insight into exactly what the motion capture looked like. Obviously when they shoot lots of clean plates, which happens a lot in 3D, the editor only has background plates to sort of edit together. He has no idea about the story and the action within the commercial, so it's really quite a difficult job. So what we tend to do is they give you a really quick edit, which is kind of rough, and they give it us straight away, and then we put the action in as quickly as possible to send back to the editors. And this kind of process goes back and forward like 2 or 3 times. So from this was like our base for the animation. At the same time, while we were kind of waiting for all this to come through, we got because they actually built a real puppet and did some of the shots within the commercial for real with a real camera on set. It turned out that it was really important they actually shot a real puppet. 1, because we could get the model scanned, which was a real help, and then 2, because they actually shot the puppet for real in its environment, it gave us perfect reference. When I'm texturing and rendering and lighting, we've got absolutely rock solid reference as to how it should look. The real puppet that was made, he went off to a digital place and they did a 3D scan of him. They kind of put him in a sort of Da Vinci pose. So you end up with a really high-res mesh basically. It was a totally accurate representation of the real thing. This was a cleaned up low-res version of it, so you can kind of see the difference between the 2 meshes. This is unworkable really, it's very accurate, but you can't really rig it and texture it because it's far too slow. This was kind of the next stage, so you sort of see, I can quickly show you the UVs. So we laid out the UVs so they're nice and easy to texture. I actually took the real jacket of the puppet and unpicked it and scanned it, so I got a really high-res photograph of the cloth. So this stage, as well as the texturing, the idea is we kind of give him a set of bones. For example, if he was to move to his right like this, his jacket would kind of move with his body here as he sort of moves forward. You can see how the jacket kind of deforms a little bit better. Our next stage, from there, it was all about the animation really. So this is a real person, this is a puppet. What the director kind of wanted was somewhere in between. We kind of worked up from all that sort of base motion capture and just tried to make it more like a puppet, and it was quite a lengthy process. I tried to keep the rendering as light on passes as possible, so you can see sort of texture switch jacket. You can see how handy that scan came in. This is the occlusion pass. It sort of helps inside his cuffs and things like that, just to darken areas to make him feel a little bit more real. So you can kind of see two of them combined. That's, it's very subtle, but it does help. Then another challenge was using hair. We used a sort of external plugin that is used within Maya. It's called Shave and Haircut. It's really good. I think they used it on King Kong, and it gives quite real effects on the hair. It was all dynamic, so it moved a little bit when he kind of jumped around. It's quite a challenge for me because I was rendering. It had to look real basically, and it's kind of a big pressure because everybody has a preconceived idea of exactly how it should look because it's real. So the final thing. That's a real close-up, CG. You can kind of just subtly see the strings. I think that's kind of important. And I saw a lot of comments on YouTube. It's like people going, "Oh no, it's CG," and then they go, "No, it can't be because there's strings on it." So it's all those really kind of fine details, even if you can hardly see them there. But again, because we had reference of what it actually looked like for real when they shot it, you could hardly see them. And it's a bit like when you watch Thunderbird, you can only see it sometimes when the lights kind of start, kind of side look. So that's really quite important. And then that last shot's real as well. So, job done.